Welcome to the Marketing Remix, presented by Red Door Interactive. I'm Reed Carr, CEO of Red Door Interactive. Our show is the senior level marketer's resource for navigating our ever-evolving landscape. In each episode, in about 20 minutes, experts from different marketing disciplines representing different buyer touchpoints tackle one important marketing topic. Then, what do you need to know, and how does it affect the buyer? Welcome to the Red Door Interactive podcast, the Marketing Remix. Marketing is often confused with promotion, but really it's about much more than that. Marketing is about knowing and understanding your customers so well that your product or service fits them and ultimately sells itself. In short, marketing is about insight above all else. In the spirit of those insights, we present our Meet the Marketer series, where we discuss the careers and tactics of marketers behind industry-leading brands. In this episode, we sit down with Nathan Schmidt, EVP of Brand Strategy and Digital Channels at San Diego County Credit Union, also known as SDCCU. During Nathan's time at SDCCU, the company has become a top credit union in the nation and deeply rooted itself within the local community as San Diego's largest locally owned financial institution with over $8.3 billion in assets. Nathan's career accolades include being named 2017 Marketing Professional of the Year by the CUNA Marketing and Business Development Council, Credit Union Rock Star, also by the CUNA, Brand Professional of the Year by SDX, San Diego's premier marketing association, 40 Under 40 by SD Metro Magazine, and a Trailblazer 40 Below by the Credit Union Times, and more. Thanks for joining us, Nathan.
Glad to be here.
All right. Well, first, to set the context for our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about SDCCU?
Sure. As you just mentioned, we're one of the largest credit unions in the nation, largest locally owned financial institution in San Diego. We are a not-for-profit financial institution, so our board of directors are all volunteer. We offer low-cost, no-cost banking services to all the individuals that live in San Diego County, Riverside County, Orange County, and beyond.
Great. Well, so now SDCCU isn't just about San Diego anymore. Can you talk a bit about the challenges you face as you take the brand regional in footprint?
Sure. We love San Diego. San Diego's where we started in 1933. We are one of the premier financial institutions down here, but we do have other service counties that we can serve. So we have decided to open more branches up in Orange County, as well as we have our 3 locations in Riverside County. One of the biggest challenges we face as we expand is just kind of breaking free of the noise that the Los Angeles market has, which services the Orange County market. So we have to be pretty tactical and strategic in our marketing messages up there to not overspend and not just kind of blanket everything.
Yeah, you have to break through the noise. Well, so that being said, what marketing channels are you currently playing in? I mean, do you have any that you feel like are working better for you than others?
We're in every channel, actually. We're very fortunate being the size that we are. We have a marketing budget that helps to deliver our messaging through many touch points. As you know, internet is one of our favorites.
Yeah, we love the internet.
We do love the internet.
Go internet.
It is one that you can be a little bit more precise than the terrestrial mediums that we also do as well.
Which are still a critical part of the mix.
Yeah, but as we were talking earlier, what is it? Overnight oats.
Yeah, that was my breakfast this morning.
And I continue to get the ads every day in my feed.
Friends of friends.
So we love the internet.
Yeah. Well, so one of the other ones that's a pretty unique one for not every brand gets a chance to do is obviously the stadium naming rights. Mm-hmm. You want to talk a little bit about what the value of that has been for you?
Sure. A lot of people question those tactics, along with not only the stadium naming rights, but also the sponsorship of things, national football games like the Holiday Bowl and previously the Poinsettia Bowl.
Yep.
People don't really understand. They think it's just putting your name on something, but it also helps to elevate brand awareness for people that may not necessarily know who you are. The stadium's a regional facility that still has hundreds of activities every single day. So when they sell a ticket, our name is on there as well. But going back to the Holiday Bowl specifically, people don't understand when they're not from this region what the Holiday Bowl's purpose really is. And San Diego County Credit Union is proud to put our name to that, because one of the pillars of our society, I would say, down in San Diego is tourism. So one of our main industries down here is putting people, they're affected by working in a hotel or any type of our tourist attractions down here. So what we do is that Holiday Bowl, the football game, is something that puts people to work in our region. So I think the statistic is 1 in 4 people are affected by the tourism industry. Mm-hmm. And the week before and the week after Christmas is something that is a time when San Diego's tourism is at its slowest. And we put heads in beds, as they like to say. So by bringing in the tourists, the football players, their families, friends, college alumni, all come down to San Diego during that time to help create help our area thrive during that time.
And that's one of the things I appreciate about you the most as a marketer, is that you remember the human element of it. I mean, for as much as we measure things and want to make sure we're delivering those results, you also are that thoughtful in terms of what does this all mean, and have a emotional connection to your customers, to the region, and what your responsibility is. So I do appreciate that on a day-to-day basis working with you. And I think that, we're out here, recognizing that you're trying to do something positive in the world as well, and beyond just driving business results.
And it does. It actually brings awareness to the credit union. It helps our industry thrive. It helps our area flourish with activity. And that's a lot of things. A lot of times marketers forget. They want to put their name on something, or but you have to, how does it connect the dots back to the individual?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's, I think, a key differentiator for SDCCU, obviously. I mean, you're in such an incredibly competitive space. You're a credit union, but you're competing with the national big banks, small local banks. You deal with such a sensitive part of consumers' lives. It's their money, their loans, their homes, their cars, some of the most, meaningful or biggest purchases that they'll ever make. How do you constantly evolve and compete with the new features, new customer expectations, while at the same time ensuring that you're reliably able to deliver on the promises you make to these customers that are so emotionally connected to you?
That's kind of the beauty of a credit union. We're not so big that we have 5,000 locations, detached, hoping that executive management reaches down to regional managers, down to the footprint of the consumer that walks into, Nashville, Tennessee, but it's being run by someplace in New York City, right?
Yep.
We actually, as an executive team, we're very in touch with where our branches are, our managers, constant communication. We are still in touch with the consumer, and that helps being not for profit as well. We try to do what's right at every turn, and have the forefront of the consumer on the mind.
It is interesting. I mean, SDCCU has evolved so much from where it began. I mean, it was, you said earlier, originally chartered back in the 30s as San Diego County Employees Credit Union, and is formed to provide the financial needs of the local county government employees. So how does that history play a role in defining the brand for the future?
Sure. It's although it fits nicely with our name today, it still is part of our name and our values, and we are aware of the county officials. And just like any credit union, most people don't know that. Most of them started in the 30s, right after in response to the Great Depression. And it's a pretty cool thing where people pooled their money. They came together, pooled, whether it be $15 or what have you, to buy a tractor equipment or whatever it is. Somebody needed a loan, and banks weren't loaning to anybody. And that spirit still thrives today, over 80 years later, in our case. And that it's just something that people don't really understand what a great movement it has been over nearly 100 years.
Yeah, locking arms, working together, and satisfying the community's needs, which is different. I mean, from the Wall Street perspective, something like that. So you got the Main Street effort, as they say.
Yeah.
So so that being said, is obviously you have to continue to grow and explore new things. So, when you do choose to pursue a new idea, a strategy or tactic, what are your decision making? What's your decision making criteria?
We do so much. It's funny. So I mean, I was actually talking to a partner this morning about one of our delivery channels, and I'm very aware of the goings on in the region and what's happening, and I want to make sure that before we put our name, let's say, on a stadium, what's going to happen?
Yep.
It's a big variable. I know that things sometimes in that arena move slow. I want to make sure that I make the best decision. I look at everything behind the curtains, so to speak, and make sure that, is this viable for us? Is this something that we can use to our advantage, and make sure that we're not wasting money in a frivolous manner. Yep.
So efficiency, connected back to the consumer, to who your brand consumer is and what's going to be meaningful to them.
Yeah.
So to support all of the stuff that you are doing, what does your team composition look like? Do you, so agency partners and that sort of thing?
We definitely, we have a lean staff.
Yep.
That's kind of the credit union model as well. We rely heavily on our partners. And I think one of the main differences with SDCCU is that we don't have a media buyer per se.
Yep.
And I'm very involved in the decisions and where we put things, all the way down to keyword searches.
Yeah.
And relying on our partners' expertise to ensure that we are driving the right communication. We're getting the right returns. We're getting the right activations. We're getting it all comes down to satisfaction with the consumer, new account growth,
yep,
new loan growth.
Yeah. So, I mean, selfishly, out of curiosity, what do you see as an agency's value to a brand?
They have to be your partner, so to speak, when it comes to their expertise. So, an agency, like let's say Red Door, for example, we definitely, we're not in the internet space at SDCCU, but you are in the internet space at Red Door Interactive, and so we definitely need to rely on your knowledge and your best decision making, I guess it would be for us to move us when you see our KPIs slipping. You want to make sure that we do prompt corrective action to fix it.
Yep. So reacting and awareness, and
fluid, very much like on demand, where it's you see something, we make a correction.
Yeah. And it's a great relationship in that regard. It's how you maintain that feedback loop and have that. I mean, it requires effort and structure. And so having that continuity with one another is so critical, certainly on our side, and we value that a ton. One of the interesting other parts of being in the space that you're in, it's a highly regulated environment. And so, banking, healthcare, that sort of thing, all faces. How does privacy and security play a role in the things you choose to invest in, or the people you choose to invest in, that sort of thing?
Security and privacy is our number one priority, I think, at SDCCU. We regulation we have all different types of regulators, and security and privacy is one of the number one things. And so with every decision we make, even clicking on an email, right, we make sure that we have training throughout the organization. We're very careful about file sharing and that type of stuff. We just don't do it. And we try to keep everything separated and locked down and secure.
Yeah. And as we see, you got the multiple phones sitting there,
right.
Making sure that everything is secure, and even in the communications that we have with one another. So, I mean, with all of that in mind, we're still trying to evolve the brand and explore new channels and tactics and try new things. With this world of marketing changing so rapidly, obviously web-based and otherwise, I mean, are you rethinking structures and ways of working within your marketing function to meet consumer expectations, or how are you set up in order to do that?
We're actually very nimble at SDCCU. So there's not a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to making decisions. We are very able to decide to try things with the right education behind it. So like, for example, leveraging our partners to say you should be doing this in your social media space, right? So we take your advice, we tweak it, and we put on the regulatory requirements, and then we're back at you, and it's delivered. Yeah. Right. So I think that's one of the benefits of being a small, large financial institution, is being nimble.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that to allow you to even play in this space on a regional basis, right? I mean, you have to know what's going on, react to what's going on. Social and activation in that regard is such a immediate thing, and so you find out something's happening, and we can all react to it with video or social or whatever those things are. And you guys' ability to make those decisions quickly with that theme makes it pretty powerful. So we're grateful for that. So that being said, too, with that lean team, and what keeps people inside your organization engaged, inspired, and eager to continue to grow?
I think one of the best things about our organization is that is the ability to try new tactics. Like I said earlier, we don't have a lot of bureaucracy, and we have the ability to, with our being so nimble, we can try new ideas where for example, we recently became the title sponsor of the Orange County Marathon, right? And that was a fun weekend filled with, meeting our new friends in Orange County, supporting the branches up there, building brand awareness. And we've signed on for the next couple of years. So just being able to try it and make sure that it delivers on our brand promise, and we're able to do those things. And that gets the employees excited. They're just not stuck at their desks, kind of doing the same old thing all the time.
So you make them run marathons.
Right. Exactly. You can do the half.
No, that's so, I mean, that you always see the people out, your team out there with big smiles, and they do get to feel like they're part of the community.
Yeah. We definitely are part of the community. It's, we support over 75 nonprofits. Last year alone, we've done over, we were at more than 400 community events. And you think about that, just, you calculate a year was worth, that's like multiple times on the weekend we're at different locations. So our employees are engaged, and we hear it from the consumers. They just love seeing their financial institution at local events. And we really seem entrenched in the community. Yeah.
And it's in meaningful and more emotional ways than you kind of would see a typical financial institution. So obviously with all of this stuff and all the things you have tried, I mean, you certainly had to have had some challenges. Can you talk about some of those challenges that you faced in your tenure and how you've been able to overcome some of those?
Sure. I would say one of the biggest challenges is how fast everything is evolving. I mean, just 7 years ago when I started at SDCCU, we didn't have some of the things that we do today. We have someone managing our social media. We have the expertise of Red Door Interactive. Again, it's back to leveraging partnerships and understanding what you don't know, and becoming educated on it, but not having to fully understand everything around it. And that's what our partners do for us.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, try to get the true depth on any of it would be end up pretty scatterbrained, I would imagine.
There's just no way that anyone can.
Yeah. Well, so then looking into the future, what are some of the things you're considering as important for SDCCU's future, and what are the priorities as you see them?
I think fintech is a major consideration right now. All of the fintech startups that are trying to get into the space. You may not think that they're actually financial related, but
Right.
you take a company that's taking money out of your account and investing it for you or what have you. I mean, that's a fintech, right?
Yeah.
Amazon, what are they doing? Those types of considerations for outside are what would traditionally be a banking space.
Yeah.
And preparing for that and making sure that our consumers are comfortable with their local banking provider and
Right.
making sure that we offer the products and stay up to date with technology out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, if you kind of start breaking it down, because there's always the idea of being a bank or being a credit union or financial institution, but meaningfully, it's helping people buy things, helping people transact, save for their future, invest.
It really is everything. I mean, if you scroll down your account history, it's like, you went to the grocery store, so you provide food for your family.
Yeah.
You bought plane tickets to take a trip somewhere. I mean, you put gas in your car to get from point A to point B. Well, some of us put gas in our car. I know somebody that has an electric car, right? But you probably paid the bill for your...
It's true. I did do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, it affects every single thing that you do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the history of one's life in a lot of ways. So it's nice to have somebody looking out for you like SDCCU. So, I mean, looking back on your career, so as it is now, are there any key points you think are important to share with the marketers listening to our show who want to evolve in their career?
Sure. I mean, we all started somewhere. It's
Right.
like it's been about 20 some odd years that I've been working in this industry. But I guess what my biggest challenge today, if somebody like if a young person was asking me,
As opposed to this old person across from you?
yeah, exactly. We're the same age, so I guess that means I'm old. I would say, don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to go with your gut on. All the mathematics can prove anything, but what does it feel? How do you feel about the decision that you're making, or somewhere you think that you need to be when it comes to the marketing space or whatever it is you're doing, for whether you're consulting or working in-house with somebody?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it kind of reiterate what I was saying earlier about you. I think one of the things I do appreciate so much is that balance that you have of gut, of data. You get out in the community, see what customers are doing, and decide ultimately you're trying to make the right decision. And that right doesn't always mean, did this X create Y, but to say, does this feel right for the person? And does it feel like the right thing to do? I think too many marketers tend to lose sight of that they're trying to deal in human terms. And so I do appreciate that. And ultimately it drives results. And I think that it feels good and it delivers results, which is such a critical thing. So, hopefully people hear that from you as they're listening to this, and we're wrapping up here. But do appreciate you sharing all this with us and with our podcast listeners. And look forward to getting you on again sometime in the future.
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please be sure to check out any show notes that we have on our website at reddoor.biz/learn. We'll wrap up some of the highlights from this and look forward to hearing or presenting to you later at a future podcast.